Hi, welcome to Pilates with Abla. Today we're going to talk about the technique for a shoulder bridge. I love shoulder bridges because they're so great for working the lower body, the glutes and the hamstrings, but you're also working stabilizing muscles like the abdominals, the backs of your arms, and also your quadriceps. But it's important to do bridges correctly because you want to make sure you don't put pressure on your back, and you also want to make sure you're getting the most out of the exercise. So let's go ahead and get started. Start by lying down all the way onto your back with your feet a hip sockets distance apart parallel. So that's about a fist between your feet and your knees. And your feet are not turned out and they're not turned in. They're just nice and parallel, lining up with the edges of the mat. If you're having knee issues, you can always take your feet a teeny bit farther away from you, or maybe just a teeny bit wider, but ideal is that hip sockets distance apart, parallel. Arms reaching long by your side, collarbones are wide, and the backs of the shoulders are wide on the mat. And again, if your shoulders are tight, take your arms out a little bit wider, but ideal is the arms close to the body with the collarbones wide. Start by drawing your abdominals in and up. And think of having a bowl of water on your pelvis. Pulling the abdominals in and curling the pubic bone up towards your face. So you tilt that bowl of water towards you. And from there, press through a triangle on your foot. So think big toe, pinky toe, and heel make that triangle. Squeeze the glutes, keep the collarbones wide, and then lift your pelvis all the way up, up, up to the top of your bridge. At the top of your bridge, make sure, first thing, that your abdominals are strongly pulling in and up. Then check in with the rest of your body. You want to make sure your ribs are not hiked above your hips, and your hips are not hiked above your ribs to put pressure on the back. You want a nice long line from your armpit all the way down towards your knees. Also imagine an orange between your knees so that your inner thighs are engaged and your knees are tracking straight forward. So you should have weight across your toes, the big toe, pinky toe, and heel, nice and even. From here, make sure that the chin is away from the chest and press the arms into the mat to fire up those triceps and keep the collarbones wide. Now let's lower onto the mat. Think bone by bone to get articulation through your spine. So first, melt the chest onto the mat. Keep those collarbones nice and wide. Melt the ribs onto the mat. Keep the tailbone curled up. Melt the waist span onto the mat. Keep curling that tailbone. And then finally roll the hips into the mat. That's our bridge. You can modify if you need to by maybe not lifting all the way up. You want to go to a point where you feel your seat and your hamstrings, but you're not putting pressure on the back. There are also many variations, but you want to make sure you have the technique correct even while you're doing those variations. Hug your knees into your chest, rock it up to a seated position, and have a nice deep inhale and exhale, and that's our bridge. Thank you so much for joining me today. Please don't forget to subscribe to get updates on the latest videos and also more technique videos.